Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into one of the most shocking and dramatic events to hit global headlines. The Crimea Bridge explosion caught live, a moment that sent shockwaves not only through Russia, but across the entire world. What happened on that bridge, why it matters so much, and what this means for the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine. We're breaking it all down right here. The Crimea Bridge, also known as the Kerch Bridge, has always been more than just a bridge. It's a powerful symbol. Built to connect mainland Russia with the annexed Crimean Peninsula, it represents control, pride, and power. For Russia, it stood as a statement, a physical link declaring Crimea as part of their territory. For Ukraine and much of the world, it symbolized occupation. So when that bridge erupted in flames, it wasn't just infrastructure collapsing. It was symbolism exploding before the eyes of millions. When the footage first appeared online, people couldn't believe what they were seeing. Flames tore through the structure, smoke billowed into the sky, and the shockwaves rippled far beyond the shores of the Black Sea. Live cameras captured the chaos, the sounds, the heat. The destruction, everything unfolded in real time. It was one of those rare, chilling moments where the entire world paused to witness history. Russia reacted with disbelief. State media tried to control the narrative, but the images spoke louder than any official statement could. Within minutes, videos spread across social media platforms, viewed by millions. Telegram channels lit up with speculation, panic, and confusion. Was it a missile strike? Was it sabotage? Who was behind it? Everyone wanted answers. Officials in Moscow quickly called it a terrorist attack. The Kremlin vowed retaliation, calling it an attack on Russia's sovereignty. But Ukraine's reaction was different. Though they didn't officially claim responsibility at first, there was an undeniable tone of satisfaction in the air. Memes, jokes, and symbolic posts appeared online, many hinting that this was a payback, a message that nowhere, not even Russian, controlled territory was beyond reach. The bridge had been a lifeline for Russia's military operations in southern Ukraine. It carried supplies, ammunition, and reinforcements. Damaging? It wasn't just about symbolism. It was strategic. Cutting off that route meant disrupting Russia's logistics, isolating Crimea, and showing the vulnerability of one of the most guarded infrastructures in the region. But what really shocked everyone was the precision and timing. The explosion happened early in the morning, catching everyone off guard. It wasn't random, it was calculated. The fire engulfed several fuel tanks on a passing train, and parts of the road collapsed into the sea. The sheer magnitude of the blast suggested advanced planning and intelligence. Experts began analyzing the footage frame by frame. Some pointed to a truck bomb, others suspected underwater drones. But regardless of how it was done, the message was clear. Russia's hold on Crimea wasn't as invincible as it seemed. The explosion wasn't just an attack on steel and concrete. It was an attack on confidence, pride, and control. Internationally, the reaction was mixed. Western nations called for restraint but quietly acknowledged that the bridge had long been a legitimate military target. Meanwhile, Russia accused the West of aiding and encouraging Ukraine to carry out such operations. The geopolitical tension deepened, and once again, the world found itself holding its breath, fearing how Moscow would respond. Inside Russia, outrage spread rapidly. Nationalists demanded revenge. State media aired emotional broadcasts, portraying the explosion as an act of war. For President Vladimir Putin, it was personal. The bridge had been one of his proudest achievements. He had personally inaugurated it in 2018, driving a truck across it as cameras rolled. Now, seeing it damaged was a blow not only to Russia's military strategy, but to his image of control and authority. In the days following the explosion, Russia launched a series of retaliatory strikes across Ukraine. Cities that had been relatively calm suddenly faced waves of missile attacks. Power stations, communication hubs, and civilian areas were hit. It was a message from Moscow that any attack on its pride would be met with overwhelming force. The people in Crimea were terrified. Long lines formed at gas stations, panic spread across social media, and rumors swirled about further attacks. Many residents who had once believed the war was distant now realized it had arrived at their doorstep. The bridge that once symbolized safety and connection now stood as a reminder of vulnerability. As investigations continued, Russia arrested several suspects, claiming they were part of a Ukrainian intelligence plot. Ukraine, on the other hand, remained ambiguous. Their officials neither confirmed nor denied involvement, but their statements carried an unmistakable tone of victory. The world watched as both sides played the information war, each trying to control the story, each trying to define the meaning of that explosion. What made this event even more dramatic was that it was caught live. People across the globe saw the flames in real time, saw the fire spreading, saw the bridge's structure crumble. There was no time for censorship or cover-ups. The rawness of the footage made it unforgettable. The explosion changed everything. Strategically, Russia had to reroute its supplies through longer, less efficient paths. The military impact was significant, but the psychological blow was even greater. It shattered the illusion of invulnerability. It showed that even the most guarded assets could be touched. For Ukraine, it boosted morale. After months of fighting, this was a victory that resonated deeply. It gave people hope. It reminded the world that Ukraine was not backing down. And for the international community, it was a moment that reignited discussions about the future of Crimea, about whether it could ever truly remain under Russian control. Months later, the bridge was repaired, but the memory of that explosion still lingers. Every news strike, every drone attack, every rumor of sabotage brings back that image. The fire, the smoke, the crumbling steel. The bridge stands again, but it stands scarred. It's no longer a symbol of power. It's a symbol of resistance and fragility. People who witnessed the explosion live say they'll never forget it. The roar of the blast, the wave of heat, the sound of metal breaking apart. It felt like watching history rewrite itself in real time. And for millions watching on screens across the world, it was a chilling reminder of how fragile peace and power can be. Even now, analysts debate the long-term impact. Some say it accelerated Russia's aggression, pushing it to target civilian infrastructure. Others believe it marked the turning point when the tide began to shift, when Russia's aura of dominance started to crack. What's certain is that the Crimea Bridge explosion was more than just a military event. It was a psychological earthquake. It redefined how both sides saw the conflict. It exposed weaknesses, challenged assumptions, and reminded everyone that in war, nothing is truly untouchable. The symbolism runs deep. The bridge once stood as a triumph of engineering and power. Now it stands as a scar of defiance. For many Ukrainians, it represents hope, proof that the impossible can happen. For Russia, it's a constant reminder of vulnerability. Every time you see the bridge in the news now, repaired but never the same, you can almost feel the tension. It's quiet, but beneath that silence lies fear, pride, and determination. It's more than just concrete and steel. It's a battlefield of meaning. And as the war continues, every action, every strike, every retaliation seems to echo that single moment, the blast that changed everything. The world might move on, but those images remain burned into memory. The fire that lit up the Crimean sky that day continues to cast a shadow over every decision, every negotiation, every confrontation that follows. For Russia, rebuilding the bridge was about restoring confidence, but for Ukraine, the message had already been sent. You can rebuild structures, but you can't erase what they've come to represent. The explosion was a statement, bold, daring, and unforgettable. Even now, as new footage and satellite images emerge, people analyze the bridge's condition, speculating whether it could be targeted again. The sense of suspense never truly fades. Every headline mentioning Crimea or the Kerch Strait brings that image rushing back. The flames, the smoke, the chaos. In the grand story of the Russia-Ukraine conflict, this was one of the defining moments. It marked a shift in momentum, a turning point in perception, and a milestone in modern warfare. The fact that it was caught live makes it even more powerful. A moment when the truth couldn't be hidden, when the world saw the empire's armor crack. From that day on, the bridge wasn't just a connection between two lands. It became a symbol of everything this war represents: pride, resistance, loss, and defiance. It showed that in war, symbols matter as much as strategy. And sometimes a single explosion can carry more weight than 1,000 speeches. The echoes of that blast are still being felt today. Diplomats talk about peace, soldiers continue to fight, and civilians struggle to survive amid the uncertainty. But no matter what happens next, that moment on the bridge, that fire on the water, will remain etched in history. The Crimea Bridge explosion wasn't just another event in the war. It was a wake-up call to the world, a reminder of how fragile control can be, how quickly power can shift, and how, in the end, even the strongest symbols can fall. So as we look back at that unforgettable footage, the bridge engulfed in flames, the stunned reactions, the silence that followed, we're reminded that this wasn't just about infrastructure. It was about identity, about message, about willpower. It was about two nations locked in a struggle that has changed the course of modern history. And whether you see it as a moment of tragedy or triumph depends on where you stand. But one thing is certain: the Crimea Bridge explosion will forever be remembered as the day the unthinkable happened, live for the whole world to see. The bridge may rise again, but the scars remain, and history will always remember the night Russia's pride burned bright over the waters of the Kerch Strait. That's all for today's breakdown. Thank you for watching and for being here with us as we continue to uncover the moments that are shaping our world right now. Stay curious, stay aware, and until next time, keep your eyes open, because history never sleeps.